Hey friends, welcome back to Urania Universe. I am Portia. I'm an astrologer on the channel, and I will be talking about the event in this video in reference to the way it affects us from a physical standpoint. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because I've been seeing within my spiritual community, a lot of people have been expressing that they've been feeling some sort of physical manifestation, like physical pain, emotional pain, or just, trauma issues that have come back up to the surface that they thought they've dealt with. And so I want to talk about why this is happening. So first, let's start off really addressing dimensional reality, because with this shift here, it's really we're really working our way up to ascension, or we are in the ascension process. So it's what that really means is that we are, awakening higher dimensions of our consciousness. And so I want to talk about the 12 to 13 ideas, or 12 to 13th dimensions that we are experiencing that are in existence. And so, initially it was 12, but now there's some speculation of 13. And, obviously the way creation works, since there is a thought process, and there are believers that believe in this 13th dimension, I would say at this moment in time, it's in existence. So the first dimensional reality, or the first dimension, is that planetary consciousness. This is the core. This is, where you have the existence of the dark mothers and just the heart of the planet. This is also a placeholder of the planetary Akashic records. So all the karma and all the soul like past lives that the earth has had, or the several lives, and all the karmic shit is all of these like life records of our planet are stored in the core. So then we have the second dimension, which is that of the realm of like elementals and natural workers of the natural realm. So you think of animal totems, all of our animal friends, plant friends, all of these things. This exists in the second dimension. So if you do anything like rituals and if you do any ceremonious work, including these elements, you're really calling forth that second dimensional perspective. And so that's really key to, any type of ritual work, or, any ceremonious work where you're like really conjuring things from this physical standpoint and working with the physical elements. So the 3D is really, our physical reality. It is the dimension of form. And so with us here, a lot of us have been ascending or raising our vibrations to really align with the fourth and fifth dimension. But in actuality, it's still split about right down the middle. There's a little bit more people that are still within this third dimensional reality. And here is when the event really has a strong effect on these things. The event really is shaking things up and opening up this awareness. And we have this alignment here with our galactic center. And so it is really accelerating this process of ascension in the form that our third dimensional realities, or our third dimensional creations, are no longer going to serve us to a certain extent. And this is a gradual process. It's not going to happen overnight, but that's, the idea of the third dimensional reality. So then you get into the 4D. With the 4D, you're in this dimension of manifestation. When you are in this level of awareness, you have the knowingness that you can create your own reality. You can use, elements of nature, other things like your spirit guides and things of that nature to really create the world that you want for yourself. This is a big step when it comes to using your divine source and getting really connected to, what's in, and moving beyond the physical reality, which is primarily the third dimension and lower. So then we step into the 5D, and the 5D is more of that divine will and that knowingness that, you have a plan, and it's being able to trust in the universe and trust in divine will, or yourself as source, in order to move forward. So it's like, yeah, you can create your own reality, but ultimately you basically already did that, before you incarnated in this life. And so, free will is where you're still in that duality perspective. So, one thing about the 4D I didn't mention is the awareness that you is the awareness of the four. Oh, actually, this is in the 50, sorry. So the 50 is that awareness of unity. So you have the knowingness that, okay, here is separation, here is, unity. And really these things, this dualism is not really, this is all an illusion. It's a creation of our own mind to really understand, because creation is, is from unity, or separation is created from unity. So, when you're in this perspective of the fifth dimension, you have this knowingness that yes, duality exists because we created it, but in actuality, everything is one and the same. And so moving back to the fourth dimension, I did not mention that the fourth dimension is the key to healing any physical things that, or any karmic shit that you have going on in the third dimension. The key to healing those traumas is by stepping into that fourth dimensional reality and beyond, obviously. But the fourth dimension is kind of like the gateway. So with this knowingness, you can create your own reality, and you can start to really transmute any struggles or traumas, or, if you want to move in a different direction because you are suffering in some way in the 3D, then stepping into the fourth dimension and above can really shift your direction, because you have that knowingness of being able to create your own reality. So then we get in the sixth dimension. The sixth dimension is a higher level of mental awareness. So this is when sacred geometry comes into play. So then you learn how to incorporate, the use of sacred geometry within your creations, and within just healing yourself, and really using sacred geometry to connect with higher spiritual realms, or to move forth into higher dimensions. So then you have the seventh dimension, which is the cosmic sound of creation. So this is sound without the physical aspect of it, which is kind of tricky to explain, but it's this consciousness state, because at this point we're beginning to separate from the physical form. So you have this very like sound of creation, but it's not like sound as we know it here on earth in physical form. But it's more of a lighter type of, with like on a grand scale. So it's like the sound of, gravitational waves. That might not be 100%, 100% way to explain it, but it's this, the sound of the movements of, celestial bodies and things of that nature is what I could say. So then eighth dimension, you have the divine mind. So then you have this is the galactic God. So, at the center of our galaxy is, the supermassive black hole, Sagittarius A star, which is the gateway to supposedly other dimensions. And so with this, which is why this event is so important at this time, with this alignment of our solar system with the Milky Way galaxy center, is because this is a portal of information. So our solar system, us as a collective consciousness, we are getting information from the galactic God, from like the divine mind. You can look at it that way. So that's why this whole thing is really important, because it's like we're getting all these downloads. A lot of people, even if you aren't, in touch with all of this new agey stuff that's happening, like you're going to feel it regardless. And that's like the whole point, because of divine will. You can't escape divine will. So then we have the 10th dimension, which is really a holder place of all 9 of these dimensions, being an awareness of being simultaneously in all these dimensions at once, which sounds crazy confusing, but it's kind of hard to grasp. But just the awareness and being in all 9 of these dimensions at once is the 10th dimension. So it's kind of that container, like it's holding space for all 9 of these dimensions for the awareness to be in all 9 at once. And this is really when you start okay, so I shouldn't say separate, but this is when you start getting into the super light, high frequency energy. So then here with the 11th dimension is the first realm of universal consciousness. So it's when you're stepping into, the consciousness as a whole, the whole universe, so to speak. And you have the awareness of all of the other previous dimensions. Then you move into the 11th dimension, which is source, and which is our relative to our, supposedly our universe. And so then the 13th dimension is the galactic consciousness, where it's like the whole consciousness of every single thing ever, at the source of the source, you can even say. So what does this mean to us living in, 3 to 5 dimensions and above? Like, what does this even mean? Why should we care about these different dimensions and level of awareness? Well, so the reasoning for that is because we are here to learn, right? So I want to take it back, going back the opposite way, like say if we're descending, which is initially what happened. Unity is the beginning. Unity is the beginning. Grace, stillness, bliss, all of these super high frequency ideals is the very beginning. There is no separation. Then you have unity begins, or you have unity starting, and then we have the creation of separation. So first you have unity, and then you have separation. So, creation is, a derivative of unity, and therefore you have separation. So as us being source individuals, we project, create, and then incarnate. And we want to learn these lessons. So, the fact that we all are an aspect of source. So you have source here as the end all be all, or the all knowing, all powerful, energy. And source wants to learn, and source has a thought. Like, what if I, project myself, or, split myself into these small pieces? So then you can even have the Big Bang aligning with this concept. But then you have source projecting itself because it wants to learn. It's like, oh, I wonder what this would be like to experience limitations and emotions and live on this earth where, my thoughts and these really light energies manifest into something physical. So that's, pretty much my personal belief, along with others, because I didn't make this up. I'm not that much of a genius, but that's the whole point of us descending. Like, people are like, well, why would we come to earth? Why would we, want to put ourselves through all this suffering and whatnot? And it really is to learn. So then you have the divine will, you have the stillness, the unity, the grace. Then you descend to, we have the source thought. So yeah, we have that element of thought, and then you get into wonder. And this is why, in my circle, and when I really do readings with people, I really, when they have these intentions, I really enforce the idea of wonder, or the concept of wonder, because wonder is our tool as creators to really, put our intentions into, something tangible. And so that element of wonder really opens all of these things up. And it's just like, okay, well, what if I do this? What if I have feelings? What if I have emotions? What if I separate into good and bad? So then you're in that whole realm of things. So then you create this, and then you have the next step would be actions. So actions would be how we react or respond to our creations. And this is when dharma and karma really comes into play. So karma is us reacting to certain creations of, either create things that we've created ourselves or others. But then once again, we're all a part of the same. So it's all, it's all connected. And so you have this idea of reacting, which is building up these karmic cycles, these karmic patterns. And, it could be issues and traumas and all that thing. And like, karma doesn't also have to be bad, but it's like you're reacting. So you're reacting to this dualist effect, the dualism. So that's why, in a sense, people will speculate and say that, karma, we have to reincarnate to heal karma and all of those things. So then when you're responding, that is an act of dharma, because you are accepting and you are allowing. When you respond, you accept and allow a particular situation or a particular creation. And so it's like, okay, I understand. Like, say if you've created some type of, disagreement between you and a friend, and you aren't sure, what you did wrong or vice versa, but then you have an argument. Or wait, don't even get to that point. You have this awareness that, oh wait, something's not right. You come together and you talk it out. And instead of instead of reacting, you respond like, okay, like I understand you probably had no idea that you upset me. And so I want to let you know. And the other person responds like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, wow, I didn't know that. And, and there's no anger, there's no like negative feelings. So that is a response to a certain creation versus, reacting in a negative way to what it was like, because that person could have, blown up and then been like, what the hell is happening? Like, what the fuck, So with that in mind, this is going to stem back to, we want to come back around to the physical aspect of what's happening here. So yes, we came down to learn, we want to grow. And, once you begin to come into awareness of these certain things, of dualism being an illusion, and, you start aligning with your purpose, or being like, okay, I'm not here to pay bills and die. So what am I here to do? When you have this awareness, you are beginning to create more from Dharma and align with that, instead of like creating more karma, and when you begin to act from your heart center, that's you creating from Dharma and not karma. And then with this knowingness, you're able to release more and more karma that doesn't serve you anymore, because you've learned those lessons. And then you're able to increase your vibrational energy until finally you get to the point where, okay, at some point you die, which, we don't die. We lose our physical bodies, but our physical bodies are our tool. We use our physical bodies to really learn more about physical manifestation and creation in that sense, in this world of form. So with that in mind, we lose our physical bodies. And if you, did the work that you needed to do and, increased your vibrational frequency, you may not have to, or may not want to incarnate or have to incarnate. I don't believe that my personal belief, because of some studies that I've done, is that we choose to reincarnate. Like, we're not forced to do anything, because force seems like, whenever you think of forcing something, it doesn't seem good. And, it's not in alignment with us being creators and a part of source and all of that stuff. So I don't think that, like, that's one of the things that's really tricky for me. I don't really personally believe, and I'm not telling you to believe that, but I personally believe that we choose to reincarnate. So, and yes, once we do, our soul leaves the body, I do believe that we go to a resting place at that time that resonates with our vibrational frequency. So if you're vibrating super low, like if you're still in 3D, you're not going to probably want to stay there in the resting place, So that could be a motivator or some type of incentive to come back and do it again and learn the lesson and grow, because the whole point is that from Dharma, you expand. And so that's the whole point of being here, is to learn and grow and expand your awareness and your consciousness. So you can do that from Dharma, but from karma, that doesn't really happen, because you're getting caught up in this same cycle. From my perspective at this point. And that could always change. And that's the whole point, like nothing's static. So with that in mind, everyone's been feeling this physical shit coming up, or emotional stuff coming up. And like, everyone's been really depressed, and you're like, oh my God, I don't really know why. So this is all a part of the ascension process. And I really like the term quickening, which is a term from Yeshua, or, I've heard that term in associating with him and meditating with him and working with my spiritual teacher. So quickening is really when your physical body is catching up to your light body, and then they're merging as one. And so with this process, when you're going through this ascension process, your physical body, like your level of awareness is increasing, and with us having alignment with this galactic center, all this information is thrown at you, your DNA is being activated. This is shit going on that you have, obviously some of us have an awareness of it, but a lot of people don't, or at least the magnitude of what's happening here. So with this, your body is experiencing all these different things, and you have your DNA changing and, just things clearing out. So your body, your physical body, has to catch up with that lighter aspect of yourself, or your higher self. It's like the merging, quickening is like the merging of your physical body with your light body or your higher self, and becoming one. And once that becomes one, this is when you've ascended, and this is what's happened to ascended masters and all of those things, and then you move forth and beyond. And so with that in mind, once we're in this place now where a lot of us are awakening to all of these different concepts, and, a few of the things that, happens when you begin to, your physical body begins to really catch up with your light body or start moving towards that, is that you begin to see yourself aligning with your purpose. You have this knowingness that I'm not here to pay bills and die. I'm not in a prison here. I do have a higher purpose. You begin to see duality as it is. And this is why, going through those different levels of dimensions was really helpful with me understanding, ascension, is because you start to be evolve to these different higher levels of consciousness. And so your body has to catch up. So certain things, as humans, we hold a lot of our emotions within our body. So once you begin to really increase your consciousness, your body will begin to purge all of these, these karmic things, or these emotional, this emotional baggage that no longer serves you. So that can manifest, as a cold. It can manifest as depression. It can manifest in any type of way, but it is your body really speaking to you. And listen to your body when you're going through these things. Especially pay attention to where, if it's a physical manifestation, pay attention to where that's happening, because that could be a clue of what your body is trying to release, or what your karmic path is really trying to tell you, or what needs to be released, or what is something that you're it kind of aligns with your purpose in a sense. For example, for me, my ascension symptom during this time was a physical manifestation of a cyst that I had, and it got bigger and bigger, and it kind of freaked me out. TMI, sorry guys, but it got really bad. And what happened before this was that I was doing a lot of yoga. I got a medicinal massage from a really good friend, and I was really paying attention to my body, and I was working on it. And I have a lot of tension in my shoulder area. So this was on my back, or it was right on my shoulder area. So I had a lot of tension in that area, and this began to flare up, because it was always there, the little cyst, it was always there. But then once I started really doing this and purging a lot of things within my circle, we've been purging all of these karmic stuff going on. So this, cyst became larger, and it's hey, for me, this was a call from my body to keep doing this, even though I was experiencing pain. Pain, like I said, there's that dualistic perspective. Pain isn't always bad. There's a lesson to be learned. So with this, I was okay, I need to start taking more care of my body. I need to continue to exercise and do yoga. I need to really make sure, because I am a body sensitive person. So I hold my emotions 100% in my body. So this is things this has been around for a long time for me personally. So with this in mind, not only did I have that awareness of, okay, I need to release and really work out all of these things I've been holding, all of this tension within my body. I need to be physical. I need to, connect my spirit with my body. With that in mind, I also, in meditation, communicated to Yeshua, which came up, that I was I want to learn how to heal my body with my mind. I want to be my healer, my own personal healer. So then I can teach this with other people on how to heal their body, and how to really be an awareness of your body and your physical form, in order to, heal it before it gets to a point where it's the point where it's detrimental. And so that was my experience with this shift here. And so I've been working on breathing techniques to heal the body. I've been working on, my diet. I've been all over the place with my diet. And before, for many years, I've been pescatarian. Then I went to no dairy and just fish. And now, then I recently, last week, I was playing around with a raw diet that ended up into a fast because, like, the beings above, like, we're like, okay, no, you can't eat right now because you're about to get all this downloaded information and this really big awakening. So you need to have like pretty much nothing in your body. You need to be really light because food, depending on what we eat, it can like definitely hold us down. So with that in mind, my message to you all when it comes to what you're feeling emotionally and physically, really pay attention to that and really have acceptance of your pain and your suffering, because there is a lesson there for you to learn. And there is, there's some room for growth because we are here to learn and expand. So you can go ahead and shun your body. You can go ahead and be upset that you're not feeling well, that you're in pain or you're depressed. And then you're going to perpetuate that karmic cycle. Or you can really have acceptance and love and awareness of your body and really work with your body as one to really understand, like, what are you trying to communicate with me? What can I learn from you? What can I learn from this pain? I accept it. I love this pain. Like, I love this. And come to the point where once you feel that you've learned this lesson, you can say, I invoke the I am in me to accept and release if necessary, if this pain no longer serves me. And so then you make ways with it. So I wanted to just share this with you all because all of us are experiencing physical manifestation, emotional manifestations due to what's going on. And this will continue because like people that have commented on my previous video said that this is not like, it's not like one point in time. This is an ongoing thing, which I totally agree with. And I do believe that, this, like, what is time really? So it's hard to even pinpoint what's going on. But as a collective, we are moving forward. And the fact that, almost half of us are in agreement, are in alignment with higher dimensions, we will begin to trickle that down to, the people, that are still functioning in the third dimension. Because as we are ascending and as we are quickening, our third dimension creations aren't really going to serve us anymore. Think about, money. Think about the food industry here, especially in the United States, the way we treat animals, the way we are already, our relationship with the second dimension is very like flawed and very fucked up. So we are beginning to heal ourselves. And I wanted to just communicate that it is not all bad. There's no bad, there's no good. It's all neutral. So if you guys have any questions, I'm going to be doing more of these videos. Definitely reach out to me, send me a message on YouTube. Check me out on my website, uraniauniverse.com. Check me out on Instagram, urania_universe. Also shoot me an email, uraniauniverse@yahoo, if you have any questions or want a reading or you just want to chat, and definitely comment on this video because I love connecting with you guys. And I am in the beginning stages of building my own spiritual community here online. And it, like, obviously it's probably starting out with YouTube and Instagram, but I definitely want to have it grow from there. And I want to hear what you guys think because, as I always tell people that I work with, do your own homework, do your own research. Like, don't take my word for it. Definitely what feels good to you, keep that and then leave the rest, and then move on and listen to someone else or check in. Really, what I believe is to go into a meditative state and check in with yourself and really see, how do I feel about this? How does this affect me? Does this resonate with me? And go from there. But don't just take my word for it because this is my perspective and my grasp on what is actually happening here. So I love you guys so much. And definitely, if you like this video, subscribe and like it as well below. Namaste, guys.